Howdy folks, today we're attempting to make a homemade version of the mega viral Dubai chocolate bar. The one that costs roughly $20 to about £15 in the UK. They're about 3 times the thickness though of a standard chocolate bar. They come in all different varieties, and also it wouldn't be a Barry video if I didn't have a little bit of extras up my sleeve. So we'll try and make it and then see if we can maybe make a slightly more budget version using some shredded wheat cereal. Thank you to Penny on Instagram for suggesting that. I also saw that you could potentially use vermicelli pasta. I was in the supermarket looking at that earlier and I thought, Penny, for your thoughts, Penny. Yeah, I preferred your idea because, well, with this, I've not got to cook it. The prep for this video, I've actually made 2 quite big boo-boos. I ordered the wrong silicone mold. See this one there? Not ideal, although I could get like individual bars. What I really want is these dividers to be flat, so I can send that back. And I'm just gonna use a loaf tin. The other thing is I ordered too much of the phyllo pastry dough that basically really enhances and makes this Dubai bar a Dubai bar. And unfortunately, with it being a food product, I can't send it back, so that's why we're gonna do a savoury recipe too. So you know phyllo pastry, we've used it before on the channel for different recipes. It's very sort of papery and thin, mainly made with flour, water and oil. It's that, but in, like, this is shredded form, but with this being a dough, we've still got to cook this, being one of the first steps in the recipe. Kataifi. There we are. Hopefully we've got that right, but look at this chocolate bar. Look at it. It's like got orange and green splattered all over it. And of course, if you can get to Dubai, you can actually import it, which I think helped to make it really, really popular. I mean, like I say, the budget that I've spent is more than probably buying one. But even with our trusty loaf tin, we're gonna make this happen. Oh my word, they really are like strands. Look at this. So delicate and light, but it does need to be cooked. It's just like a haystack. I've got to be honest, I'm getting it absolutely everywhere. It's like really fine strands. It's the sort of thing when you go on a beach and then like a few weeks later, you're still like finding sand on your nose or something. All right, so to help with the close-ups, I've got my other camera here set up. So hopefully you'll be able to see that there. I've actually made a mistake already. We're supposed to melt the butter first. Kind of like adding an oil in, and then we shove this in. But I am just gonna drop it in like so. Apparently we've got to keep it moving to lightly toast it. It does just feel like a big bowl of hair at the moment, but apparently it can catch quickly. The butter will melt around, although it's just kind of hoovering it all up right now. But even that, I've got to like tip that pan back and push that away. It wants to escape. It might be better to cook this in batches. It's actually, as it gets warmer, it's starting to become a bit of a gain. I can see little tinges in colour in it now. Almost looks like threads of saffron, which I randomly found in my cupboard. I'm not that rich, honestly. I bought it for a video. But it's quite a wealthy chocolate bar, luxury food items going in this. It is smelling really buttery now. I'm having to keep lifting it. Hopefully you can see the difference in the colour there. There is some lovely toasted variations all the way through. If you leave it for even like 5 seconds, you can burn it, so you really do have to keep moving it, but it is getting heavier. But I really like that colour variation. I'm gonna actually stop there. Ooh, but pretty bland. Amazing crunch though. Yeah, so just like a cocktail maker, I think that's what it's gonna bring to the bar. So in this lovely tub here is some tahini paste, which is very, very easy to get hold of in most supermarkets. It's basically like ground up sesame seeds. So that's fairly easy to get hold of. Something that isn't is another thing I had to order online. That is pistachio cream paste. So imagine, obviously, like we were saying about peanut butter, this is like a pistachio nut butter, which this must give it the color. Obviously, it's probably the main flavor profile, but the tahini's not going to be like agreeing 100% with that. It's like, hey, I'm tahini. You want to taste sesames too, right? It looks like the Incredible Hulk's dropped his hair gel in there, but let's stir this all around, and we're hoping that that is going to go green. I mean, it doesn't feel like it is right now, but we'll just keep going with it. This is not easy to stir. Ooh, that is gorgeous. It was quite expensive, mind. Right, so this loaf tin actually, look at the state of it. This tin is actually one that Chloe and Mrs. B like to use to make some different flapjacks and things. But on that bar, as we saw, it had like an orange and green splatter. Now, apparently they are hand painted. Over here, I've got some white chocolate that I've just chopped up. I'm doing it in 4 batches just in case, because white chocolate can be so temperamental. I only need a little bit. But I do find that it can sort of like seize, you know? It's the most, I don't know, white chocolate scares me sometimes. We're gonna dye white chocolate, orange and green. The orange dyes I've got are insanely good. The green ones, I think I've used them all, so I've got some Bodge stuff from the supermarket, which I find it's not great. Look at this. Look how strong that is. It's very interesting they're calling it hand painted, and obviously like this is how strong these dyes are. That's not my priority right now. Maybe they do hand paint it, but I'm just gonna wing it. Although technically they call it hand cooked crisps, don't they? I've never understood that. You're not putting your hand in the UK, you know, for potato chips, whatever. Sometimes they sell these more expensive ones, hand cooked. It's like, why call them hand cooked? You're not submerging your hands in really hot oil, you know? There you go. I'm just gonna go like that. A few blobs. I think that's gonna be fine, you know. Maybe a little bit here, and we've got to leave a space for the green. Well, thank you for coming to my painting class. I'll now do the same with the green chocolate. So I'm just trying to clone the bar. I've never actually tried it, but the orange and green chocolate right now is screaming out orange and mint flavouring. I mean, that could ruin it. We don't know. Okay, so here is some melted chocolate, and maybe I'm just being a little bit overcautious here. I'm just doing it with my spoon, just because I feel like if I pour it on in one go, it could melt it. It doesn't look like it. This is a 200-gram chocolate bar. Like literally it was one of these, like that thickness, and it's pretty much the same size as the loaf tin. So we might get that really decent thickness. So now it's gonna have its first set in the freezer for about 10 minutes. If you've got more time, use the fridge. And if you've made it through the video this far and you are enjoying this, you might actually also enjoy the live streams we've started doing on a weekly basis. They're a lot of fun, very, very relaxed indeed. I normally have a beer or two, and we normally cook up some recipes, and sometimes you can join in too. So check them out, they're on YouTube. I'll notify you from time to time, but also on Twitch too. So maybe see you there. You know, on the last gadget video when I was talking about like walking around with your spatula, like, oh, what do I do? I'm genuinely doing that right now. Getting ahead, melting the chocolate, but I just found myself going, oh, I need that microwave whisk. But apparently they've discontinued them because the heads actually do snap off them quite a bit. Maybe just don't whisk so aggressively. That is out the freezer and solid. And this really does look like a shredded wheat mixture now. What I want to try and do is leave a tiny border. Try and make it even. Oh my word. Look at this. I'm just gonna get it nice and even. And we will tap away again so that it kind of self-levels. But I'm really happy with that. Right, so we'll set this again for about 10-15 minutes. Probably a good chance to wipe down the hob from all that dough. And we'll see what it's like. It's about to get out the freezer, but this is how much of that leftover filling we've got. Enough at least for one more bar. I've put it into a smaller bowl, so we've got the bigger bowl, a bit more slack for our shredded wheat. Well, that's annoying. It doesn't actually tell you the weight. All it says is I've got 30 biscuits. But rather than serving it with fruit and hot milk, we are going to dunk it in another batch of the tahini and some of the pistachio cream, but I'm actually only going to use half of it. One, because we know we made twice as much. And two, because how expensive this stuff was. I only bought 2 jars of it and thought that would get me through. All right, so 2 is about 45 grams. So roughly 6 should get me by. Shredded wheat cereal. Now, if I'm disturb that too much, it's gonna go absolutely everywhere, just like our dough has. I keep finding it everywhere. In fact, you've got some behind your ear, hang on. Oh, go on, I'll just get it slightly more. There's massive like hay bales that you eat for your breakfast. Honestly, that is tastier than it sounds to some. Yeah, they're all right. This might sound amazing. That is crazy. It is just like, I mean, it's slightly less buttery smelling, but we haven't fried it in butter. But the texture is very, very similar. This will save you a bit of money on the shopping bill and a little bit of effort from toasting it if this works. We'll see this again in a minute, but let's see what our bar looks like. Spoilers, it's not like this anymore. Here it is, out of the freezer. Oh my gosh. We've actually done it. My paper wasn't perfectly even, so on the corners it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. Please use a silicone mold, please. But look at this. Oh my word, what a crunch. Oh, that's what we're after. Why is that so fun? Just slicing this thing up. Absolutely beautiful. Right, let's have a mange. So I've decided to color code the backlights just for the time being to our chocolate color of orange and green. Here we go. I've got a thick coating of chocolate around it. Oh, well, that's starting to melt. I need to get that back in the fridge. I was holding it so much for my photos. That is absolutely gorgeous. Oh. Like the chocolate aside, it is that filling, that wedge, pistachio, sesame, and our Kataifi. just working together. It works fantastic. Like, you do get those mild toasting flavours. Possibly I would like to have added a bit more pistachio cream, but I've kind of run out. But it's compact. Lovely crunch. There is sesame vibes running through it, but of the three flavours, it's probably the weakest of the two. But you've got the dough, and that pistachio cream is insane. I kind of want to make my own homemade stuff of that now. We've made that work. It is absolutely delicious. Can we save a little bit of time and money using our cereal? Yeah, so hopefully in a minute, all being well, we can make our cereal look a little bit like this, but like I say, half the quantities. So 1 tablespoon, I'm gonna say heaped tablespoon, I dunked that in a bit too much, of the tahini, and then literally every speck of this pistachio cream I can get out. I've not seen this in UK supermarkets, but like most things, order it online, I guess, like I did, and order way too much of one thing and probably not just quite enough of the other. But when my basket was like nearly 60 quid, I was thinking, okay, maybe I should just fly to Dubai. I mean, they look very similar now. I mean, if I'm looking at it with a squinty eye, the cereal one looks a little bit paler, but then that's because, despite the colour that comes in is slightly warmer, we proper toasted this one. Well, let's see how it tastes. So I've managed to reuse my Bodge loaf tin, done the orange and green, reheated that, melting my chocolate back up, and yeah, I am just still doing the sort of walking around with the spatula walk. Actually quite amazed how many of you actually did that too. It looks absolutely identical now. Freezer again. I will say that filling though, is so much crunchier. It's almost got like a raw crunch to it. Obviously, you normally soak it in milk and eat it for breakfast. It doesn't feel like it wants to be part of that, but once it's surrounded in chocolate, maybe it won't make a difference. Amazing. Okay, the colours went a little bit weirder. They blended in slightly more. They're not as dominant now. Oh, there's that noise again. Oh my word, I really hope the microphone's picking it up good. Look at that. Right, let's see if it tastes any different. Amazing crunch. The flavour is the same, but the crunch is a little bit too more gritty. I do feel like I've just eaten a bag of pebbles. I mean, as a budget version, it really works. But even for a homemade version, it's good. It just doesn't taste as authentic. So if you're gonna do it, I reckon you get the good stuff. Yeah, there's just something about, I've just been pecking on this as well. I really need to go for a run. There's something about that extra crunch in it. So if, like me, you've bought way too much of this stuff, you can make lots of things with it. So a savoury dish caught my eye that I don't know if it's gonna work. I've had quite a lot of sweet and I'm fancying a bit of savoury. The only thing is, this recipe I found says that we need to bring our thawed Kataifi shredded dough, okay? We've got to bring it to room temperature, so you got room temperature. So here's 2 eggs. It's not telling me to season them, but I'm going to do a little bit of pepper on there. This is that saffron I was talking about. Let's just put, oh my gosh, that's quite a lot. Oh, put some of that in there, go on. Grated Parmesan, some Gruyère cheese, just grating that on. This is some feta, and I absolutely can't stand it. So I've got to crumble it in, and I'm not really enjoying this step. So it's drained. It's draining me. Oh, wow. Okay. I feel like I kind of ruined that now. It's probably optional. Now, you could leave it this flavour if you want, but adding meat in if you wish, you can do. And I've got some ham, so it's actually leftovers from our dinner yesterday. We had a honey roast ham. So this has been cooked in Coca-Cola. It's what we do at Christmas time. What I think a lot of people do at Christmas time now. It's a really popular recipe. I've done it on the channel, actually. So this ham's already had quite a journey. And that mixture does look already, even just when it's static like that, fairly like robust. Obviously the egg's gonna bake into it, but I guess we need to know, well, what it is. I've got a bowl of water to one side to apparently help shape it, and some melted butter too. But apparently it says I need some strands of our that stuff. And I don't know if I've got the right stuff. I don't know if, no I haven't. Because apparently it should come out in fresh strands. Oh no. Let me just try, oh my god, it's going everywhere. Can we make strands? Oh gosh, this is ridiculous. So what you're supposed to do is bundle this all together. So imagine this is all strands and it hasn't been shredded. I could have picked another recipe. This sounded really nice. It says to brush some butter on it. Okay, we'll do that for now. But I've actually got a little bit more hope, because we'll take a little bit of the filling like this. And it does actually tell me it doesn't matter if it goes everywhere. You just have to fill it again with more of it. Okay, look, there we go. Okay, and a bit more butter on it. Oh my gosh. Yep, I'm literally a horse right now. But you end up, look, it's completely encased that. It's like a shredded meatball. This feels more like a project, and it was just like a bonus recipe to show you. So, I'm gonna try again. Bit of filling. There is water there, you can just about see it. Sprinkle that on. Gather it up like a big old haystack. Oh wow, look at this. There we go. Right, I'm gonna try and get 9 of those, if I've got enough. But I actually think this could still work. It's the same thing, isn't it? Alrighty. That's going in the oven for a whopping 40 minutes. See you then. Alrighty, just got them out and they kind of look like macaroons. Look at the sort of colour on it, it's fairly uneven. So this is a bit of a plot twist, but apparently a little bit of honey goes on top now like this. And then also some pistachios. But again, that's that sort of like luxury item thing. I'll just do the 2 actually. Let's just see. Okay, a quiet-ish crunch. But oh! Okay, you have my attention now. Oh, with the honey and the nuts on there as well, it's just kind of giving it that little sweet edge to it, but you've got that lovely crunch from the Kataifi. But inside, the flavour of those cheese, the ham's not really done too much. It's almost become sort of like a mini cheese omelette bite with like this phenomenal crunch. I mean, they all kind of want to fall off together, but they bunch together at least. On a personal note to me, I can't really taste the feta. The parmesan and the Gruyère is the most strong taste. The egg is bonding it together. Definitely putting the ham in there was a good choice. But the base of it, see how much that's browned? That's really, really nice. Is it a bit worrying that out of the things we've made today, this has actually turned out and my favourite? You could just do so much more with that. In fact, so could I. In fact, that's the only reason we did do that, because I ordered too much, like I say. So I'm glad I tried that out. So in conclusion, if you really want to try it for that taste and that authentic crunch, go for the Kataifi dough. The shredded wheat worked well, but it kind of had just a part raw element to it with even more crunch. But actually out of the 3, I don't try to convince you another way, or we're trying to get something else to be really, really popular. These cheeky little things could be a game changer. Let me know what you think. Give them a try if you want. Send me photos on your social media platform of choice if you wish. I'd love to see that. And I'll see you later. Ciao for now. There's literally even a strand on my watch. Look at that, there is literally